The battle is about to start here in Fallon, Nevada at the Battleborn Bronx. Hello, I'm Clay Noel, and I have the infamous Steve Kenyon here with me. Steve, thank you so much for joining me.
It scares me when you describe me as infamous, just saying.
I know, but I've known you forever, so I am going.
It is an honor to be here. This is a fast-growing event. This is the third year of Battleborn Bronx. This is a beautiful arena. 2022 in June, when they put on the very first one of these, the very first event in this arena. We opened this arena up, and tonight we're going to have a big old party.
And I am so excited to see all the contestants that are up tonight. We're going to talk about it here in a second, but first, this year they honored the late and great Trenton Montero. Last night they did a Calcutta, and all of the proceeds went to Trenton. But before we talk a little bit more about everything that they did for the Trenton Montero Foundation, I want to show you guys a little bit about who Trenton was through this beautiful poem that my husband wrote. So take a look at it.
For Trenton, my friend, my brother, I apologize if today I can't seem to see quite straight. You see, there's an empty rigging sitting over there, resting on the gate, a set of silver spurs hanging that have some bronc hair caught. And I'm sorry if I'm so lost in broken-hearted thought. There's a set of bluish shafts that are folded up halfway neat, and a hat that's a little crumpled up from the afternoon heat. The Nevada sky has lost some of its usual bright hue, and there's a little less color and a lot more blue. For our hero and our brother who's no longer here, a man without equal, a rodeo hand without fear, kind and gentle with a giant's heart and a movie star's smile, and if you needed anything, he would drive at least 1,000 miles just to give you the shirt off his back and his last dollar. He was the one behind the chutes giving you an encouraging holler, a man who showed us how to unconditionally love, with his Maria at his side and his God up above, and a goofy grin and an unforgettable swagger he walked. He'd drive across the country when the others they'd balked, at the Bronx they had drawn and entry fees bought. He was riding the ones that were ridden and the ones that were not. He was a warrior that seemed to be of the unlikeliest sort, a man who cared more about his buddies than just the love of the sport. And even when it put him 500 miles out of his way, you called him up, he'd be there within the day. We had to say farewell to our hero a little too soon, with saddened hearts and a mournful, lonely tune. You see, he got the call back to a rodeo that's a lot higher than down here on earth, where horses have wings, the entries are paid, and the final judge has already proven his worth.
Joe Harper, thank you. That's beautifully said. The words are exactly right. I know Joe was a dear friend of Trenton's and looked up to Trenton a lot. Trenton competed here a year ago, of course, won a go-round at the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. His only appearance at the NFR, the very first go-round he ever rode in. Made a 90-point ride at the NFR. It had to feel like it was going to be easy from that point on. And the Trenton Montero Foundation, you mentioned the auction last night, $8,400 was raised. A beautiful painting highlighted that auction. Trenton that was done, and an artist named Isaiah Stewart put that together, and Clay was absolutely gorgeous.
It was very beautiful, and it
is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, and it out of everything that's happened, you know, in the last 10 months, 8 months since we've lost Trenton, it has been beautiful to see what different communities have done, committees, rodeo committees, and even small town communities have done to come together and honor his legacy. And the Trenton Montero Foundation is a great example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. There are several rodeos around the state of Nevada, southern Idaho, the places that Trenton called home. Silver State Stampede in Elko coming up in about a month from now. They've got a beautiful bronze they put together in recognition of Trenton. Trenton's name will be remembered for a long time, not just because of the efforts people are making to remember him, but because of the life he lived and the person he was. And that is going to stick with all of the people who knew him and cared about him, and hopefully we'll all be able to share it with the folks who are coming up down the line.
Yep, and he went through the ranks of everything from high school rodeo to college rodeo and obviously professional rodeo. And so before we move on to contestants, I just want to add one more thing. When I was at the CNFR last week in Casper, Wyoming, we again had the opportunity to honor Trenton, and the NYRA commissioner, Jim Dewey Brown, who is Trenton's coach at New Mexico State University, said that Trenton was the embodiment of the mission of the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association. And I just thought that was so beautiful and such a wonderful example, and so true, obviously, about who Trenton was. But instead of staying here in the sadness of missing him, but the excitement of seeing everything that's happened because of it, let's move on to our contestants for tonight, Steve.
Okay, so you want to pick a couple. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Are we betting on this or anything? Or?
I mean, you can go ask my husband.
Okay,
Maybe
fine.
he'll bring in the funds for it.
Got it. Okay, so I want to start in the bareback riding. Last night we had a Calcutta auction here, and my partner Scott Grover described the man I want to talk about as the hottest thing going right now in bareback riding and pro rodeo. Cooper Cook is the number 2 man in the PRCA's world standings right now. He's got a great horse drawn tonight, MLW's Irish Eyes, a many-time National Finals Rodeo selected bucking horse from Wade Sankey Pro Rodeo and Phenom Genetics. Cooper Cook, second standings, the Wilderness Circuit Finals Rodeo champion, and he was just 88 in Eagle, Idaho. He made a pair of 88-point rides last weekend, won 3 rodeos. He's somebody I'm really keeping an eye on. That's a great horse, and that's a young man who is on a roll right now at the age of 21, Cooper Cook.
See, I'm going to go for a little bit more of an underdog a bit. He has been to the NFR a couple times now. Taylor Broussard, he placed 16th last year at the end of the PRCA year, and he is sitting 10th in the world right now. He's got a riding average of 85 and a quarter points, and then, that was his average score, and then his riding average is 89%. So I'm excited to see what Taylor will get done on Outlaw Tunes from Sankey Pro Rodeo.
Here's the only thing about Taylor. He needs to stay healthy. He stays healthy, he makes the NFR. He's fought injuries. He fought injury the first year that he qualified for the National Finals Rodeo. If he can stay healthy, we'll see him in Las Vegas in December.
Yep. Steve, who you got for the saddle bronc riding?
Well, I'm not going very far out on a limb in the bronc riding. We have one of the most interesting rematches you're going to find at a rodeo. In 2022, here at Battleborn Broncs, Damian Brennan from Australia, on the way in that year to becoming the Resistol Rookie of the Year, won Battleborn Broncs. And he did so making an 88-point ride on a really good horse from Gene King and Craig Wentz called O'Toodles. That's an NFR horse. He's got the same horse drawn tonight. He's got O'Toodles again, and so we'll see what Damian Brennan can do. Can he repeat the magic? All he's done this year is move to the number 1 spot in the world standings, win all over $130,000. He's already got enough money, won to punch his ticket to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. But Damian Brennan is a long way from done, and I think that's going to be an electric opportunity for Damian Brennan, a rematch in this arena from when he was 88 on O'Toodles 2 years ago.
I think that'll be interesting to see, but my pick is Mr. Sage Newman. He is sitting 5th in the world right now, and he has drawn Sankey Pro Rodeo's Pendleton Roundups Marquis. This horse has had 2 months off, and I think that little bit of a break that she had is going to make her come out and be explosive tonight. And that horse has an average score of 84 3/4 points, and Sage's average score is about right there, about 84 points. So I think it could be a really interesting matchup to see tonight.
There are 3 stock contractors here tonight: King and Wentz, Sankey Pro Rodeo and Phenom Genetics, and the Birch family. And all 3 of them have brought the top end of their herds. And so you have got an opportunity. I mean, there are going to be some superior horses no matter how many great ones you try to bring. But you've got an opportunity here tonight to draw really well and be a big scorer.
So we are just, like I said, hours away from the battle starting here in Fallon, Nevada. Until next time, I'm Clay Noel.